everyone, and welcome to another video by Centipede Geek. Today I'm going to talk about the NBC original television series by the name of Revolution. I'm going to discuss my thoughts and opinions upon episode 12 titled Ghost. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and get to it, shall we? So pretty much in this episode, we have one main key element going on, and that is Miles Matheson is trying to find one of his old friends, Jim Hudson. And the reason he is trying to find Jim Hudson is because he wants to take out the Monroe militia once and for all. You know, they don't show the scene, or they don't show it in a flashback scene or anything like that. But in the past, they talk about in the episode, in the past, both Jim Hudson and Miles Matheson tried to take them out, but Miles Matheson ended up, duking out. And by duking out, I mean he ended up leaving them out in the middle of nowhere, and he didn't kill the Monroe like he planned. But now he wants to kill Monroe and all of the militia members once and for all, and they don't show that doesn't happen in this episode. That's what he pretty much tries to get Jim Hudson to do. And of course, Jim Hudson does not want to do this because Jim Hudson has a wife now. His wife calls him Henry. His wife doesn't actually know who he is. I like this Jim Hudson character. I hope he is in more episodes later on. I really like him because it was his first time seeing him. But anyways, like I was saying, his wife doesn't know who he is, and he doesn't want. At first, he ends up listening, and his wife ends up leaving him because his wife ends up finding out who he is. But at first, Jim Hudson doesn't listen to him because he wants to take care of his wife. And Miles Matheson ends up having to tell him, you're a killer. That's what me and you are. That's all we'll ever be. So anyways, we have that going on. We also have the entire, all of the rebels, Charlie, Miles, the mother, all of them included, are still dealing with the death of Danny. I believe that's his name. Charlie's brother that died. The whole reason they were doing the first 11 episodes. Anyways, they're still dealing with the death. They bury him in the first few scenes of the episode. And then we have what this episode also does. It also shows Randall's death scenes. Randall is now working with Monroe, and there's also this sort of struggle for power. Similar to the I talked about in my following review how there's a struggle going on between Roderick and Joe Carroll. There's also a struggle for power going on between the characters in the Revolution on NBC. There's also a struggle for power going on between Randall, and then between Monroe. And Monroe, of course, is the big-headed guy, that thinks he has all the power, but Randall tells him straight up, he tells him, that Randall is really the one in power because he's the one with the pendants, and he's the one that can give Monroe anything he wants. And Monroe gets a little mad at him because of the way Randall speaks to him, and Randall pretty much tells him, Monroe asks him, why didn't you come to me earlier? And Randall tells him, let's see what he says. He says he was trying to see if he was worthy. He was trying to see if Monroe could pull his head out of his own ass. So that's pretty much that's the exact words he said. It was kind of a, comical kind of saying, because of what he said. Anyways, and then Monroe tells him, he's like, people usually don't speak to me that way. And then Randall says, I have the pendants. I'm the one really with the power. And that was a nice little, conflict between both Randall and Monroe. Both great characters, both great actors, and both just great villains in general. I think I like, I don't know. I think I like Randall just a little more, even though Monroe has been in more scenes. But Randall just has this sort of, just character about him. Even though he's not the one actually carrying the gun himself, he's still the one, leading them, giving the orders. He does actually walk with the Monroe militia because in this episode, I think all the rebel people are hiding out in a school, and they end up having to find out where the rebels are because of a pendant. Because of the pendants, they have, Grace, made the technology where they were able to find them. And turns it on. They went and found him in the school, and they end up, at first, they capture Charlie's mom's character, but Charlie's mom, of course, hits Randall in the stomach and ends up running off, and that's pretty much, the main gist of episode 12, titled Ghost, for the NBC original television series by the name of Revolution. My favorite element about today's episode, besides all I'll talk about the action a little bit at the end, and my favorite scenes and stuff, but my favorite element about this episode, besides the backstory with Randall, I also really like that, was we found out some key things about why the blackout happened. And it's with these scenes that I'm talking about with Randall. There was a scene about a year before the blackout where it showed Randall, and we found out why the why the blackout, not exactly all the details about why the blackout happened, but we found out about 2 or 3 key details that led up to why the blackout happened. So if you don't want to know these, click the stop button because I'm about to give you some major spoilers. Anyways, let's get to those spoilers, and if you like spoilers, keep watching. If not, make sure to click that stop button, even though I've already given most of the episode away. But major spoilers ahead. Anyways, so let's get straight to them. So we found out in this episode that the reason the pendant was made was to stop war. And for some reason, instead of just stopping war, they stopped electricity everywhere. Something went wrong in a place called the Tower. We don't know what this tower is, but at the end of the episode, we see Randall's character sitting at sort of like, I don't think he was it looked like he was the president. He may have been, but it kind of looked like he was the president sitting at the sort of row of, House of Representatives, a row of council seat members, and he tells the people out the tower, they ask him if he's sure, he tells them, yes, go ahead and do it. But according to them, something went wrong at the tower when they were supposed to turn the electricity off somewhere. Instead, something went wrong, and it went off everywhere. So it was used as a weapon to stop war, and now, because of something going wrong at the tower, now Randall wants to make a safer world, and the way he believes he can make a safer world is giving the electricity to people that are in power, not letting everyone have electricity, but only the ones in power. That way, the bad people, because Monroe and Randall think they're good guys, clearly not. Anyways, they believe they're doing the right thing, and they believe that they should have the electricity, and no one else should. That way they can be in control and make the place, as Randall calls it, a safer world. So those are the really nice key elements. I really liked them in this episode because it gave us more of the backstory of why the power and why the electricity went out in the first place. Because for the entire first season, we've been wondering this. In episode 12, titled Ghost of NBC's Revolution, we finally found out why the power, sort of why. In next week's episode is episode 13, titled The Song Remains the Same, and it looks like the main element of that episode, according to the promo, looks like Tom Neville's character is captured. Hopefully he doesn't get killed off because I really like him. Anyways, looks like in the next episode they're going to find this tower place. That way they can find out why the power really went off. I really enjoyed this episode overall. My thoughts and opinions are a very solid episode. Like I said, I really enjoyed the flashback sequence with Randall. Randall and Monroe both are great actors. Miles Matheson also stole the scenes. There's a scene with Randall, discussing, why he wants to make the place a safer world. When he captures Charlie's mother character, he tells her, what he wants to do, keep the electricity in the hands of the strong or whatever. I really like the dialogue and the quotes, very well written script. And then there was a nice, very, this show is only TV-14 for violence, I believe, in this episode. And the end of this is probably some of the bloodiest scenes I have seen in Revolution so far. What I love about Revolution is they know how to build on their characters. They give you this nice build up. They give you all these, little, kind of minor things going on. Then they tell you just enough about the backstory of the electricity to get you interested. And then they end the episode with a bang by giving you this huge, I guess you could say, 10, 15-minute action sequence with swords, and it's just so great, when people are getting slit, blood's flying, blood's hitting the screen. And then they use it in a very clever way when one of the militia officers is killed. They don't show him being hit, but they show the guy coming down with the sword, and you see the blood, squirt up towards the bottom. You only see the blood squirt up towards the bottom of the screen, and I thought that was a really clever way to use, the whole TV-14, violence rating. Very bloody show, though. You see, people getting stabbed, straight through the stomach and right through the back. At a back angle, it'll show the sword coming out of their back, and just, for being only a TV-14, for violent show, it's very bloody. And that's what I enjoy about it. You don't have to make a show TVMA to make it bloody. And I'd rather a show be TVMA, but even with the TV-14 rating, you can still get away with a ton of violence. So if you like action and, classic sword, sort of medieval type weaponry, then you're really going to like that last, sort of 10-minute action sequence because, like I said earlier, Revolution really builds on its characters, and then it gives you this nice sort of, finale with lots of action. So overall, I really enjoyed episode 12 titled Ghost. Straight up 10 out of 10. Anyways, as I'm sure most of you know, it comes on every Monday night, 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern for everyone else, I believe. Next week's episode is episode 13, titled The Song Remains the Same, April 8th of 2013. Anyways, once again, thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the page below, and I will see you guys later. More videos by Synopsis.